Hello and welcome to Elecspo, and today we're talking about Football Manager Wonderkids. As part of a new series, I'm going to look at every edition of Football Manager and pick out a selection of top young players they tip to go right to the top and see where they are now, looking at the success stories and the nightmares. And of course, I'm starting with the inaugural edition of the game, Football Manager 2005. So here we go, my name's James and this is 9 Wonderkids from Football Manager 2005. Where are they now? Number 1, Carlos Tevez. We're starting off with a big name and a man I've got fond memories of from Football Manager 2005. Yeah, I knew who Carlos Tevez was 16 years ago. I used to read World Soccer magazine and everything. Genuinely, that magazine was like my top source for finding random foreign players. Tevez used to spearhead my Bolton team from this game alongside Klaas-Jan Huntelaar, and I vividly remember him once getting sent off for randomly headbutting an opponent. Imagine my joy when in 2006, West Ham completed the double signing of Carlos Tevez and Javier Mascherano. That was the move that really launched Tevez's career in Europe, even if it did take a year or two to get going. He was a cult hero at Old Trafford, then a leader at Man City who eventually went rogue and decided not to play. But he returned to help City win the title, and he will always be remembered fondly by City fans for his involvement in the early stages of the new rich era for the club. He then won 2 Serie A titles with Juventus before returning to Boca, where he's still playing what is his 3rd spell for the club. This is one FM05 got bang on, although I doubt they predicted his holiday in China playing for Shanghai Shenhua. Number 2, Fernando Cavanaghi. We've got another Argentinian striker, as Carlos Tevez wasn't the only young South American forward you should have signed on FM05. But while both players were great stars on the game, only one of them really achieved anything in their actual career, and it's the bloke we've already spoke about. Cavanaghi was a lethal striker in Argentina playing for River Plate at the start of his career, which was the benchmark for his obscene potential, but just didn't translate to goals across Europe. He first strolled in Russia but then picked up at Bordeaux before eventually giving up and heading back to River, a club he played for 3 times. He ended his career in 2016 with Cypriot side Apoel, where it finally looked like he was finding his feet. Cavanaghi banged in 19 goals in 18 league games, but his career was sadly ended by a horrible knee injury. So that's where he is now, retired, probably sat at home bashing FM05, seeing himself score goal after goal. Number 3, Vincent Kompany. Next up, we've got another player who made his name at Man City, and a centre-back you just had to sign on management games during this era. But even when Football Manager 2005 came out, Vincent Kompany was hardly a secret. He made his Anderlecht debut in like 2003 when he was just 17, then a year later he was already playing for Belgium. See, even though he's a wonder kid, when you sign Vincent Kompany you could be pretty confident that he'd progress into a world-class player. Was Kompany ever world-class though? For me, there was a point in time where he was the best centre-back in the world, and he'll no doubt get a statue outside of the Etihad one day. Nowadays he's hung with his boots but is now a manager, patrolling the touchline back at his beloved Anderlecht. Number 4, Anthony VandenBerg. We can't mention Vincent Kompany without mentioning his partner in crime, Anthony VandenBerg. If you signed Kompany back in the day, you had to sign VandenBerg as well. Kompany was always the higher rated of the two, but VandenBerg certainly had potential. When I think of these two, it just takes me back to playing LMA Manager on the PS2. But while Kompany went on to win Premier League titles with Man City, VandenBerg's career wasn't quite as prestigious. The fact he's probably best known for being the sending off that Chris Kamara missed and made a career out of pretty much sums it all up. The Belgian actually retired in 2017 but 2 months later returned to football, and after a spell of 3 years without a club, VandenBerg is now back at Anderlecht, being managed by Big Vinny. Number 5, Billy Jones. When you look at Billy Jones's career, it's hard to believe he was ever tipped to become an elite footballer. I mean, yeah, he did play in the Premier League consistently for years, but he was never even challenging the top half. But back on FM05, when he was still with Crew, Billy Jones was earmarked as a future star and a possible England international. Fast forward 16 years and Billy Jones was 33 years old and playing in the Championship with Rotherham United. Obviously he wasn't keen on another season of Sunderland Till I Die on Netflix. Number 6, Stephen Taylor. From an ex-Sunderland man to a former Magpie, Stephen Taylor was another highly rated English defender on FM05, and another who didn't really reach the heights anticipated. I mean, yeah, he once got into the England squad, but he also pretended he'd been shot to get away with a handball. He headbutted the post trying to clear a shot off the line in a Tyne-Wear derby, and he used to stand in front of the goalkeeper trying to put him off when he was setting up his wall. And he used to crawl on the floor and knock the ball back to his goalkeeper with his head so that he could pick it up. What an odd bloke. Taylor was certainly a character, and a player who suffered a lot from injuries that really stunted his development. To my surprise, he's still playing today, having gone from Australian Wellington Phoenix to the Indian Super League with Odisha, where he's now club captain. Number 7, Hatem Ben Arfa. Okay, apologies for the Northeast overload, but Hatem Ben Arfa is one of modern football's greatest enigmas. The man has all the natural ability in the world, like Lionel Messi levels of talent. But while Messi's won everything and anything, hadn't Ben Arfa's list of accolades would probably be much longer. His only trophies have came in France, with most of them coming from the early days of his career. But while he hasn't won as many trophies as people expected, he's put smiles on faces of fans wherever he's been. I mean, Newcastle fans still herald him as a hero, and he's scored some of the greatest goals I've ever seen in a Toon shirt. But wherever he's been, it's always ended in tears, and Ben Arfa is in France once again, joining Bordeaux in October of this year on a free. Number 8, Igor Akinfeev. Igor Akinfeev has been the CSKA Moscow number 1 for longer than some of you have probably been alive. That's incredible. He was already the first choice when Football Manager 2005 was released, and on that game he was back to become one of the best goalkeepers in the world. However, it's always been hard to judge him. Despite all the hype, Akinfeev stayed in Russia and has made more than 600 appearances for CSKA Moscow, as well as more than 100 for his country. While Akinfeev will also be something of a conundrum due to his loyalty, back in the day he was the man you wanted in between the sticks for your FM team. And number 9, Freddie Ade. Evolution is a mystery, and so is Freddie Ade. When you think of Football Manager Wonderkids, you think of Freddie Ade. He was the next best thing. He was going to take soccer to new heights. He was only 14 when he signed his first pro contract in the MLS. Now it's 2020, he's played in more countries and more clubs than he'd care to admit. His career has been incredible for all the wrong reasons, and all the more shocking when you remember how highly rated he was back in the day. After a 2-year break from the game, Freddie Ade is now back in football, playing for Swedish third-tier side Österlen at the 10 rate of just 31 still. To us though, he'll always be that teenager scoring goal after goal in our incredible Football Manager team. So there we go, that's 9 Wonderkids from Football Manager 2005 and where they are now. Join us next time when I look at FM06. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Elecspo, and until next time, I'll see you around.